Hey everyone, Pastor BJ here, coming to you from Kirkmont Church. This past Sunday, I got the opportunity to preach, and one of the things that I mentioned in passing was a story in Numbers chapter 22 that I called one of the weirdest stories in all of Scripture. So I thought we might break back out our bizarre verses of the Bible series. Maybe this one is better called the bizarre stories in the Bible. Nonetheless, I think you will find that there are parts of the story that are a tad unpredictable. So grab your high-octane coffee. Let's make this happen. All right, so if you're interested in reading this story, you can find it in chapter 22 of the book of Numbers. You may go back a few chapters just to kind of get the setting of what's going on here. But here's the story as the Bible lays it out. The Israelites are wandering around in the desert. They are a huge group of people, into the millions, and they have just torn their way through a group of people called the Amorites, and then they moved fairly unimpededly all the way up to where they were right up next to a group of people known as the Moabites. And the Moabites were fairly small in number, the Israelites were huge, and the king of Moab, a guy named Balak, starts freaking out a little bit. And he doesn't know what to do. He realizes he's going to lose this military battle if he tries to engage, and so he reaches out to one of the other groups in the area known as the Midianites and basically says, we got to do something. And the strategy that they come up with is to go find a prophet named Balaam and basically have him put a curse on the Israelites. And the thinking here is that if Balaam, who is in touch with God, can put a curse on the Israelites, that even though these other groups of people can't defeat the Israelites militarily, that something really bad would happen to them. There would be some internal dissension among their ranks, or just something bad would fall upon the Israelites, and then ultimately Moab and Midian and some of these places would be saved. So initially what they do is they get a whole bunch of money and they send a whole bunch of this entourage to go see Balaam, and God tells Balaam not to do it. And so Balaam says, sorry, not going to do it. They go back to the king, Balak, and Balak sends back even more. And God finally relents, realizing that Balaam really, really wanted that money. And so he says, fine, go, do what you're going to do. So Balaam packs all this stuff up. He's got dollar signs in his eyes. And he's literally riding on a donkey on his way to go curse the Israelites. And the Lord sends an angel to block the way so that the donkey couldn't get through. Now, the reason he does this is to kind of send a message, but we already at first have our first, sort of like weird, unpredictable thing here, because the donkey can see the angel, but Balaam can't. And so the donkey is trying all sorts of different ways to get out of the way, and Balaam freaks out on this thing. He jumps up, starts beating his donkey, and ends up just getting like furious at it. And then what happens next has to be something that I read to you. It says this in verse 27. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she lay down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and he struck the donkey with his staff. And then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, what have I done to you that you have struck me these 3 times? And Balaam said to the donkey, because you have made a fool of me. I wish I had a sword in my hand, for then I would kill you. And the donkey said to Balaam, am I not your donkey on which you have ridden all your life long to this day? Is it my habit to treat you this way? And he said, no. All right. Yeah, that one kind of comes out a little bit out of left field. And I don't know there's so many bizarre aspects to this story. One is, I never could really understand why the donkey could see the angel but not Balaam. And after that weirdness, then the donkey actually starts talking. But I don't know if it's weirder that the donkey actually started talking, or if it was that Balaam starts talking back to the donkey as if this was just a perfectly ordinary thing to do. And I don't know, it's kind of bizarre in my mind. But the other thing that's really interesting about this is that I have had the misfortune of watching the movie Shrek. And if you haven't seen the movie Shrek, there is a prominent donkey.
Man, I like you. What's your name?
And every single time I read this story, I can't help but listen to the donkey of Balaam talking in the voice of the donkey in Shrek. And I got to be honest with you, it kind of takes the sting out of the story a little bit, and it makes it difficult for me to take it seriously sometimes. So, all right, so ultimately, what ends up happening in this story is that Balaam shows up, he goes to the Israelites, and every single time he speaks, he is only able to speak what the Lord forces him to speak, which is that he gives a blessing to Israel. No matter how many times he tries, he always blesses Israel rather than curses them. So here's the takeaway of this very bizarre passage of the Bible. When God sees fit to bless a group of people, nothing's going to stand in their way. He is going to see to it that his people are blessed. And sometimes it just takes a talking donkey to get that accomplished. So don't ever forget that.
Can I say something to you? Listen, you was really, really something back there. Incredible.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I was talking to you.